Hi, it's Chris Gio from Merchant Method, and you are tuned into a Merchant Method Trend Report, a combination of relevant industry news with experience-based training so you can build greater retail profit with ease. This week's topic is using green business practices to get ahead in retail. I was having a conversation last week with a friend of mine who is a writer, and she writes for Shopify. And she was telling me about an article that she wrote, and I went to it and was really inspired. I've included a link to that article in these notes, and the article's titled Going Green: How to Save Energy and Cut Retail Business Expenses. And this article was simmering in the back of my head as I visited with clients over the last week or so. And I was really inspired to come up with my own trends that I know that you're using and bringing forward in your business right now, and my thoughts on how you can further lean into these business practices. We are all purpose-driven businesses, and sustainability, green business practices, they're like givens for our community of merchants and small businesses, and we are looking for ways to do this even more. And so that's what this trend report is about. I am covering 3 specific trends related to store fixtures, technology, and then packaging. So a variety of areas in your business. And this is going to be relevant whether you own a brick and mortar business, whether you sell at pop-ups only, or whether you are a maker. So let's dive in. The first trend is around store fixtures. So it is really common when we are building our brick and mortar shop or merchandising it, or even if we're putting together a 10 by 10 foot space in a summer craft show, it's really common for us to think about how can we reuse materials that already exist that need to be reused, right? So reclaimed wood is a really common material that we use as small merchants. We reuse it. Or we might breathe new life into a vintage fixture. So I think of a vintage armoire that might be really romantic in an apparel space, or a vintage bookcase, or a vintage, fireplace mantle, right? And part of the beauty of reusing old materials or breathing new life into something that's been overlooked is that not only is it largely cost effective, but it also helps us create a really wonderful experiential narrative. It can be really, really romantic. It can be brand aligned. And I love that trend, and I'm seeing it everywhere. It's almost now a very common practice to incorporate some level of reuse. What I would encourage you to do is to lean into green practices when it comes to store fixtures even more, and think about how you can invest in modern, very modern fixtures that allow you to continue to cut consumption, to be sustainable, but then also to cut expenses. One of the things that I see very often is motion detector lights or timer lights in bathrooms or washrooms. They're typically linked to not only the light, but also the exhaust fan. And I see them in customer-facing washrooms that customers can go into. I don't see them as often, but sometimes I do in employee washrooms or bathrooms. But also consider, where can motion detector or timer lights benefit your business in other ways? Typically in non-selling spaces. A stockroom is a fantastic place to keep a timer light or a motion detector light, particularly for an independent retailer whose stockroom isn't filled with, aisles and aisles and rows of sliding cases, etc. Where it is a pretty safe environment to have a timed light or a motion detector light. Maybe it's in your office, your back of store office. A motion detector light or a timer light could be really helpful. I like to think of it as helpful in spaces where there are lots of people going in and out, because it could be so convenient to leave the light on all the time, but it's in those moments of convenience where we have hidden consumption. There are other ways that you can look at modern fixtures based on your unique business needs. So I remember, wow, 15 years ago, almost 15 years ago, I worked for a natural beauty product and personal care product company. And during our store open hours, we were open almost 10 hours a day. The we had a sink on our sales floor, and we probably used that sink was probably running about 25 to 30% of the time that the store was open. That's a lot of water consumption. The water was running on the sales floor because we were demonstrating our products to customers, or we were using that water to boil tea. Now, we served hot tea to customers all the time. If I were to reimagine what that space could look like, I would love to have put in a touchless sink or a motion detector sink like you might see in bathrooms, because not only would we be really smart about our consumption, it would also help us maintain a hygienic, clean environment. Number three, it would be 100% brand aligned. So in addition to cutting expenses and keeping things operationally clean, right, aligned with our best practices, it just enhances the story that we're trying to tell, which was around natural personal care products and environmental sustainability. So think through, what are the tools of your trade, and could there be tools that you can invest in that could be green and help your business move forward? The types of other things that I think about are, for a salon that provides a service but also sells a lot of product, could there be energy efficient and still quality hair dryers, flat irons, curling irons? There's a variety of things you can go down the rabbit hole as you think about your unique business, and I encourage you to further explore how you can utilize modern tech to enhance your practices. All right, trend number 2, tech and technology. Now, I don't know how many applications you have on your phone. I have a pretty modest amount, but still, for the modest amount that I have about 10 that I use to help me run my business. Some of them are app-only tools, and others of them are app counterparts to a website that I use online or a piece of software, and the app allows me to access that information anytime, anywhere. For our community of merchants, probably the number one app that we have is a point of sale system. It is so easy. I love companies that have provided very easy to use, very easy to access, easy to start up point of sale systems, because it has allowed so many of us to become independent business owners, and allows us to accept payment in a way that's really convenient for the customer. Keep doing it, but what I would discourage you from doing is to continue to be a consumer of apps if you already have a functionality that you're not currently using in one of the apps that you already subscribe to, or in one of the apps you've already downloaded. So I'm speaking really specifically about leaning into and further leveraging your point of sale app and your point of sale software. So typically, this is the largest area of opportunity I see in independent businesses, including with my clients, is how do you really optimize all that the software has to offer you. Oftentimes, one of the benefits we love when it comes to the point of sale service provider that we selected, whatever you selected, is that the reporting is fantastic and that there's a really good dashboard, right? So if you're not familiar with that phrase dashboard, it's a quick read into, like a quick snapshot into the state of your business. Remember, when it comes to utilizing this amazing reporting and this, the amazing dashboard features, what you get out of your point of sale is in direct proportion to what you put in. So think about a gourmet meal. Whew, I haven't had one in a bit, but when I had my last gourmet meal, I knew without a shadow of a doubt that the input was quality ingredients, number one, quality tools, number two, and three, quality talent, right? So to really optimize, even to maximize the use of your system, think through how you're inputting all of your information. Because number one, not only is these savvy systems meant to help you cut timely, labor-intensive tasks, therefore cutting expenses, right? In payroll, in material consumption, they're also meant to drive efficiency. But number two, when you are better informed because the quality of the output is better, you will make better investments in your business. So trend number two, lean into the technology you have, specifically, very specifically, really maximize the use of your point of sale system. All right, number three is packaging. One of the great benefits of these point of sale systems is that they've allowed us to provide our customers with paperless receipts, e-receipts, right? Customers can email themselves if they want a receipt, or it allows us to give them one of two options based on what the customer wants. It allows us a lot of flexibility as merchants. In certain geographic markets, customers are also accustomed to paperless transactions. And what I mean by that is that there are geographic pockets in cities where customers must bring their own reusable grocery bags or be charged for a sturdier bag from the grocery store, like a paper bag or a reusable bag that they would buy. And in these markets, in these geographic markets, customers have translated that behavior in bagging groceries to that behavior of bagging purchases in general. And so it's becoming much more common and more widespread to have these cash wrap experiences that are paperless, with e-receipts and with customers bringing their own bags. And you can still provide that same level of engagement and extend the romance of the experience, even if customers don't have this paper consumption. And I would also really want you to consider, what does that mean when you ship online orders? Now, it's a really common mentality in shipping online orders. Wow, how can I use this captive time, the unboxing time, to tell my customer all the things I want to tell them, or to provide a high level of touch so it feels as if they've been in the store? And what that might look like in unboxing is tissue paper, lots of tissue paper, protective material, maybe even a bow, and then inserts. And the same customer that buys in store buys online, or the customer that buys all online is really thinking through, how do I pass on these materials to someone else who might use them, or how do I recycle them or get rid of them, right? So I would really encourage you to think through, if you find a lot of value, and whatever value means to you, in paperless cash wrap transactions in store, how can you use your opportunity in shipping to align those values, not only in green, sustainable packaging materials, but also in how you package that and how you communicate with your customer through those boxes. So keep leaning into green practices when it comes to packaging online orders or orders that are placed on the phone and fulfilled through shipping. All right, so a review of rising trends and how you can really take advantage of these green practices to further your business is, number one, store fixtures. So in addition to reusing, how can you invest in modern fixtures that are really aligned with the core of your business and that are also going to elevate the brand value? Number two, keep utilizing technology, keep utilizing your apps, and when it comes to your point of sale system, really spend some time understanding how you can use its full capacity. And number three, when it comes to sustainable, eco-friendly, green packaging in store, consider how you might translate that to online goods and online orders. And I wrap up this trend report with my homework to you. If you think or know that you can further optimize your point of sale system, schedule 15 minutes every week to either take a tutorial from your provider themselves, or to search YouTube or Google through videos on ways that you can better understand your point of sale system. You don't need to do it all at once in one large sitting, but really allow yourself to investigate, because as you start to understand the capacity of your system, you will ask better questions and then want to use it even more. So it's a great quick jump start. So for more information on this trend report and trend reports that cover a variety of topics, go to merchantmethod.com. And until next week, I'm Chris Guillo. Thanks.